Hello and welcome to the Unofficial Controller Podcast, your weekly gaming podcast, episode number. I do believe after my well-spoken episode last time, we're on to 284 with me, George. And this week, you could say unfortunately, but I say fortunately, joined by RGT, returning to... I've messed your line up, sorry, contractually obliged to pay you a big chunk of money now. Returning hero to my I'm here again, though. How's it going, RGT?
Very well, thank you very much. Had a little spell of being a bit poorly, but yeah, back at it now, up, ready, fit, ready to go.
Well, last week I told the tale of how I'd been using your teaspoon to stir the unfettered.
That's a trick of yours. Yeah, you've done that before, so don't surprise me.
It's normal. It's what normal people do.
Well, it's what you do, but
yeah, it is. My rules, it's how it goes. Get ready.
Wow, I can't wait.
Let's get stuck in there. You've not been on for a wee while because you've been ill. You're all healed now. Thank God. Everyone's breathed a sigh of relief. RGT has shuffled off his deathbed. He's managed to shake off the Victorian malaise. And he's here with us. So I have to ask one question. From your deathbed, RGT, what have you been playing?
Wow. Bit more Dead Space. Not as much as I want, really. I need to get back onto it. I've had a few games all at once there. But yeah, a bit more Dead Space is that's our current Gen 7 playthrough game at the moment. I think I'm up to chapter 6, I believe, or 7. But yeah, really enjoying that on the PS3. A few others are playing PS3 or Xbox, or they're playing the remastered one that they've done on the current gen. So a few of us are playing different ones, sort of comparing. We're now on our second stage. We're playing through up to chapter 8 at the moment, which I think Carlos is sort of leading the way a bit on there at the moment. But I'll hopefully catch up this coming week as a recording. But yeah, really enjoying that.
Carlos is the one-man George fan club.
Yes, he is. Yeah.
You won't catch him.
No. Probably not. You're indebted to that man.
He will desiccate you like coconut.
Yeah. Started so threatening and ended with coconut. But yeah. So really enjoying that. Then I also played Mafia: The Old Country and completed that. Really enjoyed that game. When
you kept texting me, I was sat in UCP town, I was minding my own business, and I kept getting these rather threatening mafioso-like texts of like, play Old Country, else will be a horse's head in your bed, that sort of talk.
Yeah, it changed me for a while there, I was...
A while?
Yeah. Suddenly started wearing a pink striped suit a lot, yeah. Yeah, so...
I see you in a white suit, black shirt, white or red tie.
Mm-hmm.
You've got your hair slicked back. You're chewing on a cocktail stick. Red rose, top lapel, left-hand side. Brown brogues, brown belt. What car are you driving?
Oof. Don't know, maybe an old Cadillac?
No, I see you in a Proton.
A Proton? Yeah, that's took the edge off the suit a bit. The Proton that pulls up, then I step out.
No, you park round the corner and saunter in.
Yeah, true. That's a good way to do it.
You've got the handlebars off a Vespa, and you just turn up, ripping the handle, making the noise yourself. a bit like the Italian version of the Crazy Frog.
Yeah, that started off well with the white suit, but you've degraded me a little bit there from a Proton. Anyway, I'll be playing Mafia: The Old Country. I was impressed all round with that game. For one, being as cheap as it was,
that's
under $40.
It's powerful.
Physical.
Message.
I pre-ordered it, so I got a few extras in game. Got a really fast car and bits and pieces, which was good fun.
You got the Vespa handle and the little hack horn.
Oh, I did, yeah. Also,
sounds like your mating cry.
Yeah, that is. If you hear that in Suffolk, beware. Yeah, but
Why is there a quid super glued to the floor? Oh, God. Bloody hell, RGT, I almost felt that.
Oh, this is going to be a long show. But yeah, it was a great launched at a great price. Graphically, very, very pretty. One of the prettiest games I've seen on this generation.
You get slathering screenshots on my WhatsApp feed as well.
Yeah,
I'm on holiday in Sicily, George. Look at this.
Well, certain times when you're there's certain areas you're underground or in caves, and it was very, very close to when the PS5 fort launched, and we got the first look at it, and they'd done that Unreal Engine 5 sort of tribal woman going for a cave, and they show how they done that light, and it was like that light, and that's the first time I've seen that light and in a game actually since they show us that demo. Looked stunning, looked absolutely stunning. There's the odd I noticed there was the odd little bit of pop in there, but not much to really. You had to really look hard to see any discrepancies in the graphics. But I enjoyed the story, very well acted, not too long. I mean, I mess about quite a bit, and I'm always exploring places. So 20 hours I was, but 15 to 17 hours you could get this done if you just stick the story. I thought it was really good. I think an all-round package for a physical game, if you buy it physically, very, very good. Really enjoyed it. It's been a bit of a. I didn't think too much about it before it launched, but now I think it's been a bit of a underrated game this year. I think this could be one of the better games I've played this year.
Did you bring a hidden gem today?
No.
Okay.
Take it out of the wages.
I've rewritten a new song.
Oh, no, you'd have to save it till next week. I just haven't written it up yet. I have got one, but I just haven't written it up. And then anyway, so Mafia as well. And then also I have played and finished Murder on the Orient Express.
What's that, on Switch?
Yeah, a Switch version, but I played it on Switch 2.
Yeah, okay.
I bought it when it was in the sale. I love them. Everyone knows them. I like the Agatha Christie games. I love all those sort of puzzles and mysteries. And
are you Poirot in this or not?
Yes, you are, but it's a modern tape, so it's in the modern set in 2023.
What the hell does Poirot look like in 2023? Has he got a moustache still? Or?
He's got a moustache, but sort of a modern haircut and
baseball cap.
No, he's very suave but cool as well.
Has he got a mobile?
Yes, he got mobile phones in it.
Yeah. Does he have a games console, or is he just straight tech?
Straight tech. Yeah, I didn't see him flip out a Steam Deck or anything, but you never know. He might have one hidden in his trench coat. But
he's a GBA guy. He's a GBA SP dude.
Yeah, he is pushing.
Yeah. He's stealthy. He's got a micro build.
Yeah, backlit screen, the whole lot.
Yeah.
There's people listening think, what the hell are they on about? Anyway,
he's had our mate Retro Futures on.
Yeah. So yeah, very good game. I like all them puzzle games anyway. Good take on it. When you're in the train itself, when you're in Orient Express itself, very pretty, looks very nice.
Is it just to help me understand how these games are put together? Because I've seen a few in the past. Is it like static screens that you kind of move between, or are you moving an player avatar as a character?
You are third person moving through freely throughout the train as you wish.
Oh, right, okay. And how does that lend itself to the gameplay?
Very good, because you'll be interviewing people, and then you go you press your X button on the Switch 2 and you go into his mind, and he's got his mind tree laid out of people you need to speak to, and that'll open up other avenues.
Don't talk to me about Switch buttons, dude.
So yeah. And so then you'll find on the mind map, and then you'll think, oh, maybe I better go and speak to them, and you'll go and speak to them and unlock a bit more evidence, and then there's the odd few puzzles involved, but there's also, they'll test you as well. So it's no good skipping through. When you're talking to someone, it's no good sitting on your phone, not listening to what's going on, because straight afterwards they say, right, how old is this person? Where do they work? What nationality are they? So they'll test you on if you've listened to what they've said. So there's little bits like that. But I done it that was about 15 hours, complete the game. Like I say, I got it on an eShop sale, so I think I paid about $6 for that
Was that a recent acquisition, or is it someone you've had in your backlog?
No, recent acquisition about 8 weeks ago, 10 weeks ago. So,
is that made by the same people that make these Sherlock Holmes games that you like? Or is it
I'm not
different
sure to
company?
be honest. I'm not sure to be honest. I'm not sure.
Does that play the same like third person Avatar, or is that static
Yes,
screens again?
yes, they play third person as well. So you,
Parson.
yeah, third half, third person as well. So then you sort of investigate areas, find clues, and
Yeah.
yeah, but really good if you like them sort of games. And I thought this was quite a brave way of doing it to bring it up to a modern version of the Orient Express as well. So in the modern day, and then that spins off
Was
as
it set
well.
on the Eurotunnel or something, or is it still on the Orient Express?
Still on the Orient Express, and you get stopped and there's a murder, but there's more to this murder than who this person who's murdered is. So you have to really look into it, and then you'll go off as someone else for a bit and be solving a crime that's linked to the murder of this person.
All right.
So you go off as a female policewoman and have to sort that out to bring it back into the train again. So really enjoyed it. There was some of the outdoor scenes you sort of looked and you could see. I mean, that was that. In like PS1, PS2 days, they'd take a screenshot of trees and then just project it around. It was a bit like that when you're on an outdoor scene. It was.
Do you think that's where some of my sort of, and I've never played it, I've never researched it, but I've clicked on it a few times and I've seen these sorts of things, which I think is why my assumption was it was not static screens, but more like a point and click from the 80s where you have a fixed screen that you move your character around in with your mouse. But what you're saying is it's like a 3D space that you move through, clicking on that. Yeah. I mean, albeit these backgrounds looking a little bit like...
When you're on a train, the reflections and the sort of the walnut wood all shining reflective looks really good.
Nice.
And then you can speak to people and you can go and you can, there's hidden things as well. And there'll be the odd few puzzles, not as many as what you think. This is pretty much just a mystery game. You have to solve that crime. But I really like them. I love the ABC murders. And I think first cases I've played, I just need to play the London cases one, which I've got as well for Mini Shop Sale. But yeah, they are good. If you like them sort of games and you want a bit of a chill out and a bit of a murder mystery, they're really good. And as each new one come out, I find they get that bit more in depth, whereas the earlier ones were more puzzle based. Everything was a puzzle. Now it's more you have to interview people.
So it's gone from being a bit of a Myst clone to becoming a little bit more...
That's actually a very good comparison. Yeah, good. That's a good comparison. Very good, yeah. And like now it's more like, so you'll interview someone. So say you've got, for instance, a lady and she's got an assistant. You'll speak to the lady and she'll say, I went to bed so-and-so and they weren't in here. And then you speak to the assistant, they say, yeah, well, I went to bed the same time as her. So then you can pick what question, and that'll say, well, what discrepancies was between the two. So you can then pull out, if you've listened properly, you can pull that out and say, hang on, you said you went to bed, but she said that you weren't in the room. And then you can pull them up to get more evidence out of them. So
he was up till 3 a.m. sniffing her undergarments sort of scenario.
I'm not sure that was one of the theories in there, but yeah.
I think it's a conclusion you could and should have jumped to.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
If you like video games, then you can't miss Call Me By Your Game. It's a podcast hosted by me, Sweetie Pie, Connor McCabe, where I invite a guest to share about a special video game from a memorable moment in their life. That's right, it's baked in nostalgia. Was Persona 5 a warm blanket during the pandemic? Did Mario Kart 64 feel like a vacation? Or does Spyro remind you of that winter break with Dad? These are the types of stories told on the podcast. So call me Tetris, Half-Life, or StarCraft 2, it's up to you. Find the show wherever you get your podcasts, and get ready to call me by your game.
Yeah, I'm not sure how Hercule would have gone down that route, but I was looking for a murderer, not a knicker sniffer.
It's not over as a line of inquiry until you kill it.
Well, yeah, maybe this game ain't for you. But anyway, I've also... But once I finished those two, I did have a pre-order on a collector's edition that came through, which was Story of Seasons Grand Bazaar.
Now, you've been tickling my WhatsApp feed between us with these pictures of this special edition box set laid prostate, exterior, internal, sort of book open, gape shot, the whole bag of tricks. You've sort of lathered up with me on this. Now, I have to admit, what a great looking set.
That is a good set. I've never heard it described like that, but it is a good set.
How else would you describe the images you sent to me?
Just what was inside the collector's edition.
I think that's what I said.
Yeah, did you? Yeah, I think you did.
I think I just used some sort of stronger descriptive words.
Yes, you did. Yeah, but it's a very good set. And like I said to you, I pre-ordered this. I pre-ordered it for 62 British pounds, and I pre-ordered it a few months ago. And then when I went to check, I thought, oh, that's coming out. That was showing on Amazon at 102, and I thought, oh God, I'm paying 102 for this, am I? But no, it was 62. So whether that was just a limited time offer or what, I don't know, because the actual game was retailing at £59.99. So for £3 extra, I got collector's edition, which is very good. You get double disc CD soundtrack, you get art book, which is a really nice big art book, actually, seeing all their hand drawn the characters. You've got a little sheep, little tiny sheep. Got a physical copy of the game, which is all on the cartridge, which I might add as well for Switch 2.
Nice touch,
and a little box set. So yeah, really good. The actual game itself, really enjoying it. The art style is fantastic.
Give the uninitiated the breakdown, the gameplay loop of this.
Well, basically, if you don't know what Story of Seasons is, originally when the Harvest Moon games were out, obviously games are called Harvest Moon, and then the studio split, from what I understand, and the studios now, some remake the Harvest Moon games, some remake the Story of Seasons games, which is old Harvest Moon games, but redone, if you know what I mean. But anyway, Story of Seasons was, Grand Bazaar was a 3DS game, I believe, which has now been remastered for the Switch 2 and Switch. And anyway, the game itself it's your standard life sim, farm and sim sort of trope. You come into this little town, but the bit of a twist with this one to the others. But anyway, you come to this little town. Obviously, you've got your standard farm and tropes. You can grow, you can sell things. There's a few little differences with it. For instance, it's not as nowhere near as hardcore into it as Stardew Valley. You know, you've got a smaller little farm patch. You've got a nice little house. You can still cook. You can do bits. A lot more basic, but good. But you also have a windmill on your farm. So if you want to craft anything, you go to the windmill and take the supplies. You put it in, and because you have weather, the windier the day, the quicker it produces the stuff. But the reason you produce all this stuff is because every Saturday there is a market bazaar in the centre of town, and you have to sell what you take. And so you
is that done in a graveyard keep? No. Oh, what's that game I spent ages on? You kind of message in, because it slipped my mind. I thought it was Dungeon Keeper, but I don't think it is. Where you kind of go.
Oh, was that Moonlight one? Moonlight?
Yeah, that's it. I think it is. You go and do the raids during the night, you come back, and then you have to man your shop. I don't know if you've ever played that, but it's giving me similar vibes. One thing I want to know, obviously, when you first piped up about Stardew, I think I gave quite a resilient rebuff and said, mate, this is Harvest Moon. I don't know why you're raving about this. I was playing this exact same game 10 years ago. How does Story of Seasons... You've already mentioned it's not as in-depth, I guess, with the crafting and some of the combinations that you can make. But how does that core gameplay loop compare? Is it exact mirror of Stardew? So if you kind of burnt out from Stardew, you could rock up here and it'd be very, very similar? Or is it like speaking French?
I think this is... Stardew now is a massive, massive game. It is brilliant. Don't get me wrong. Mrs. RGT's put 200-300 hours in, maybe more now. Meerkat76, who's on our Discord, she's probably pushing 800 hours in Stardew. It is very in depth and a great achievement, that game. This is 3D for a start. Very Ni no Kuni, if you played those games. Cell shaded, gorgeous. Looks very good, very good. You're almost like an isometric view, but 3D, if that makes sense. But there's something about it. It's your standard tropes. You grow your vegetables, you grow your flowers. You can go out and collect wildflowers. You can go out and collect ore and bits and pieces, right? like I say, it's nowhere near as hardcore as Stardew with recycling machines and ore machines and smelters and all that. You know, it's a lot less than that. But there's something about when you go on a Saturday, you take your goods to your stall, which you can customize your stall as well. You can put an A board out to get people there, and then you have 4 items at a time which you put down, and the mayor of the town will give you what trends are happening that season. So he might say mushrooms are really in, round vegetables, scents, and say gifts like necklaces and jewelry that you can craft. So then you go and put them down on your stall, and then you ring a bell as people come past, ding a ding a ding, and then get people to have a look. Now they'll either come up and see and go, oh, they've got turnips, I'll buy that. They've got a necklace, I'll buy that. Or you see a little thing above their head, little imagination bubble, and I'll say, oh, I wish they had parsnips. Oh, I wish they had this. And if you've got them, you can quickly swap.
Moonlight. It's called Moonlight. That happens in Moonlight. So people come in the store and they're all, I'm frustrated because everyone like worked my arse off. And I'm like, yeah, here's me goods. Here they come. Everyone walks in, looks at my stuff, immediately besmirches it. Little bubble above their head. I wish he had this.
Yeah.
It's like, damn me, that's not.
But because you only have 4 items out, but you have a lot more stock at your place, you can quickly swap it in if you're quick enough. And they go, oh, he has got that. And I'll go and get it.
Oh, okay.
Yes, you could swap them 4 things out. So you have a morning shift and an afternoon shift. You have an hour in between. So if you need to use any of the other guys that are there for extending your farm or doing that, they've got a stall there. You can go and see those. Now, also, there is these people who almost like local council who run the bazaars in all the towns. And ours is like or yours will be like one of the worst bazaars. So they come in and say,
are you telling me that they threaten to turn it into a car park unless they see more market stalls?
Pretty much, yes. So they pretty much say, we'll shut you down.
How realistic is this?
Yeah, they will shut you down if you don't get more stalls. So some of your missions during the week, not only you farming, but someone will say, oh, I'd think about setting a stall up if I had this. So you can go off in the wilds, collect them bits, get them a stall set up, and then you tick the boxes of the bazaar getting better and getting their rank up.
Do you have to do the bazaar? Is that part of the loop, or can you just farm?
No, you have to do the bazaar because that's the way you earn your money. So, but that's the bit that gets you, because I've tried playing a few other Harvest Moon remakes this year, and I've sort of gone, I've done all this before. You know, if you're going to play a farming sim, you play Stardew. I've done all this before. But then there's something about this. It's very well remade from the DS version. But also that bizarre element of selling your stuff at your market and making sure that you've got a good load of stock. And then, you know, the last time I done one, I sold out like an hour beforehand. I'd sold out. I was like, oh, no.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, it's really good, you know, because all my stuff was popular. And then you've got these little sprites which are around town. You can do work for them, and then they'll boost your sales when you're out. You can get a sales boost, and people suddenly buy loads of stuff all at once. And it's really well done. And that's the best thing about it, is it's not overpowering. It's not, you don't sit there and think, oh my God, look at all this. You don't have that. You've got this little town. You plant a few things, you grow them. You can go off and find some stuff. You can help people out, and then you get that all built up during the week, ready for your bazaar on a Saturday. But also, which is good, you also have a paraglider like on Zelda. Yeah, so you get one of them. So if you're sort of think, oh, I need to get over town and the wind's blowing the right direction, jump and hold the button, scoot across the screen on your paraglider. Yeah, but very, very good. It's very well made. I mean, I know they've switched to his 60 FPS. They said there's been the odd dip. I haven't noticed any dips myself at all. There might, if there is, a marginal. Graphically brilliant, runs very smoothly. I think it's a real proper cozy, chill game that's not overpowering at all, and something you can keep dipping in and out of. And you've got all them farming tropes, but nothing's too silly. Like, I've got a chicken now. The barn's already there. That's next to your house. You just go in the door, put some food down, and there you go. The chicken sword.
That's better, isn't it?
It's you know, you haven't got to then get the wood to process the wood, to buy a barn, to then save up, to buy an animal, to then get a feed machine built. You ain't got to do any of that. That's there, and you can just sort of dip into each of these as you go. Very enjoyable. I would definitely recommend it. If you're not really into farming sims, maybe $60 is maybe a bit much at the moment, but wait till the sale's on, dip in. I think you'd enjoy it, because that's definitely an entry point into that genre, but also it's a great game if you've played Stardew and stuff and want something a bit different, but on the same sort of theme. So, yeah, been absolutely loving that. But that is me. So I suppose I better jump over and say, George, what you been playing?
Well, it's been a fractious week as always. The Switch 2's coming to its own. I've been playing a lot of Witcher 3 again, just walking around cleaning up the side missions that I didn't complete in the main story. I didn't leave that many, surprisingly. Skellige was the place that I kind of abandoned, so I've just gone back there and done a lot of cleaning up. I started the full momentum of starting the Hearts of Stone DLC. Which again is presenting itself as very enjoyable. Again, even the most random side quests in Witcher 3 feel like the main story, which is one of the plus points of the game. You can pick up a random side mission and your head conflate it to be, an episode of the Witcher TV series. You can really pad it out. You can go on your horse, slow walk there, get off, assess the area, do a little bit of, investigation. It's very rewarding. I also had a little bit of a rough and tumble session with Arkham Asylum on the Switch 2. The first Batman Arkham game.
What's that play like on the Switch 2?
Say again?
What's it play like on the Switch 2?
Super solid.
Really?
The first one was super solid on the Switch 1, but this time around, everything looks so clean. I was playing it on a big TV in my hotel room while I was out, pursuing sponsorship deals for the show. And, I was blown away by how solid it looked. On the 360, which is where I think I played it initially, I've replayed it on PS3. Great looking game, a game of the era. And now, don't get me wrong, there's some of these sort of visual artifacts, lower grade textures, that sort of drama that you expect to see on what's rapidly approaching probably a 20-year-old game or something daft, right?
I just hoping you didn't do what I done when I said how good it was on the Switch, and then the next week when I come on, I'd actually fell through the floor and got stuck underneath the mat. The Switch version.
On proper Arkham Asylum?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. No, well, I haven't experienced anything like that yet.
But other than that, it did play pretty well on the original Switch. I mean, it's locked at 30, but it still played well.
It looked good on original Switch, but again, just that little bit of a boost, a little bit of the extra visual clarity that you get from the Switch 2, and it's kind of cranking it up to, those 4K visuals or whatever. This was a 1080p set I was on this week, but that just gave the Switch a better chance of throwing a good image on the screen. So, yeah, thoroughly impressed with that. It's a nice sort of 3D Metroidvania kind of explorer. It's nice and simple, steady away sort of thing. It's like chewing gum. And I enjoyed it for what it was. Obviously, last episode, did my little solo show and mentioned the Corvette update for No Man's Sky. Well, I'll be honest with you, that's probably where most of my time has been sunk this week. I've had some late nights when I got home.
Are you VRing it?
I'm not VRing it. I got all it out last night, but then the two handsets weren't charged properly, so I've recharged those. I'm just getting, what I want to do is get the Corvette built, because I find in VR when you get sort of like zoomed up to the God view and you're creating your ship, which is a lot of that going on at the minute, because I'm like just disassembling stuff, rebuilding stuff, going in the menus, right, okay, so all the tech out on the old ship, I need to, okay, so I can install this tech and this tech that I've got, I need to find these rare materials. So I'm walking around, I've kind of found this system that I've got my Corvette in, and I'm kind of going between planet, go down, grind for money, and I'll be, when I, Thursday nighttime, I started playing the game, just for everyone, we're recording this on a Saturday, and I had the most basic things, and I've had for the longest time in No Man's Sky my dream ship, this red, it's not the shuttle, it's the one above, the cargo hauler. Always looked exquisite to me. I always just wanted to be able to walk around in the back. Last week I talked about the compromise of the Corvettes on anything like that at all. But so I grinded a little bit and got the most basic of modules, and I was like, wow, this sucks arse, but I'm going to make the most of it. So I kind of had these compromises going on. I found this nice little loop of going down and grabbing certain materials and rare plants and bringing them up. I was probably making a mill every 10 or 15 minutes. You need to be, if you first start playing, if you hear about these Corvettes and you get No Man's Sky tomorrow, let me tell you, I'm going to say it again. you're flat broke, baby. You ain't going to be able to afford to even put a landing thruster down for this thing. You're going to have to grind. You're going to have to get a little bit further in the game. Now, I've done all this and I've tried and I've pushed and I'm now very happy. I got lucky with some modules that I found. Now this thing is exactly what I wanted it to be. It's got a cockpit on like a World War II bomber. I've got this viewing screen. It looks very much like the ship from Star Wars Outlaws. I've ended up creating this thing that looks like that. We'll come back to that because I've got news. So now I've built this thing. I'm just in there installing all my tech. There's not many cargo slots, but I've heard you can buy more for 7 million each, which, that's like, wow. Okay, that's where we're at, is it? Fine, more grind. That's cool. So I think the ship's just about there. So the next thing I do is probably, when I'm not trying to be sociable, is to stick the VR headset on and then just trample people in my front room as I walk around this starship, And the cool thing about it is I've been flying it now. You can point it somewhere, go down to the autopilot menu and tell it just to maintain current course and heading. Then you get out the chair and you can walk around to the viewing port and you can see all the asteroids moving by. You can tell the autopilot, you pick a planet in the system and it's like, doop, 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 doop. When it just goes there. Cool. While you get out, you can be using the refiner in the back to create more materials. You can look out the window. I imagine I'm going to be role-playing in VR, pretend I'm fixing like a ducting fan or something.
Have you actually made in your living room out of cardboard the actual perfectly scaled interior?
The thing is, you wouldn't need to. You would need I've got like a puff, a footstool, call it what you like. Yeah, it's not what you think. I haven't got one of those. I haven't got a homosexual slaved in my front room. It's a futon. No, it's not. It's what are they called?
Footstool.
Where I'm from, darling, we call them poofs. Okay, right. So I've got one of those that I could arrange up the front and left hand side of my living room, and then you turn around on that, and then you can stand up, and then you can just free walk. Right, so all you need is that. Everything else is created by the game.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have that right near the TV. So not that you even need the TV on for VR, which is cool, or I can position the whole thing round the other way. I'm always a bit nervous about doing it the other way because I've got a fire on the left-hand side of the room. Yeah, I don't want to.
Wintertime could be interesting.
Oh, crikey, this engine feels hot. This is super
realistic. This PSVR 2, I didn't realise it actually had heat coming out of these controllers. This is amazing. I can even feel my arm burning.
I picked up with this reactor core and it's literally burning my hand.
Yeah, this is unbelievable.
Unbelievable tech. So I've just made the same game underneath, obviously. It's the No Man's Sky for me has always been the game that you make in your head is way better than the game. I mean, the story they give you's got some legs and I should probably return to it because I've never, in all my time seeing it through, I've kind of grinded the story to get to the bit that I need. Like, I want that cool looking bass part. Therefore, I'll go and listen to this absolute dribble story on this remote planet. Or sack it off once I got what I need and move on. So, yeah, the story's kind of there. It serves two purposes, a little bit of entertainment and then like a slow drip-free tutorial. I'd imagine if I went and played it now, it'd be like the most basic thing, like, this is how you fly a ship. Like, oh, God, I abandoned it this early, did I? Oh, no. And I have, like, sometimes gone back to the story and it's so, like, Billy Bob basic. Like, I'll build a base. Mate, I built 20 bases across this whole universe. And you're telling me build a base now? Fine. What is it? Oh, really basic thing here. And like, oh, God. Go away. Anyway, so I'm thoroughly enjoying that. If you haven't ever played it and you find it secondhand, God's sake, mate, it's in the sales at what, 12 quid if you've got a Switch 2. I can't imagine. I upgraded my version of No Man's Sky for like 5 or 10 quid, I think it was. So I've got the fully fledged full horse system going on the Switch 2. Couldn't be happier. It looks great on there.
So is it like cross save as well with your PS5 version?
It is, but I kind of like to have like my PS5 save as my PS5 save, and I don't really feel like that. I have done hot cloud saves on The Witcher 3 between the PS5 and the Switch 1. Haven't really needed to entertain that idea since the Switch 2 because it's just that much more solid, playable, and around you that you don't feel like you're playing a completely different game anymore.
Yeah, very true.
But it worked flawlessly, and I'm sure the No Man's Sky one does as well. I just kind of, I don't know, I just want them separate. I don't know why. I want my Switch game and I want my PlayStation game, and never the twain shall meet. But earlier in the little brief, I said to you about how it looked like the ship from Star Wars Outlaws. Well, when the Switch launched, I saw this game was coming out. At that moment, I was thoroughly enjoying it. And
have you double dipped?
Must have at some strange moment RGT clicked buy on that game many months ago. Got a little thing. Star Wars Outlaws out for delivery. And I've had a few Amazon notifications because obviously Carlos won his prize and Amazon delivered it, and HG Games won his prize and Amazon delivered it. So I've had things popping up, and I thought it's just more of this dribble. Like knock at the door. What is this? Anyway, found some chap careening around my front garden, which was a bit like, hey up, mate. Oh, sorry. Yes, here he comes. Yeah, I don't know where you were going, mate. The front door's here. One knock and I'm here. One would imagine I probably didn't even hear it. But anyway, got it, ripped it open, Outlaws. Okay. Installed it. It's a game key card version, so I had to do the OD install. And there's a bit of news about this as well, which someone would think that this show is put together by someone who knows what they're doing, but I don't want that accusation leveled at me because I don't think it's true. I think it's just luck.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll get into the news about why it might be on a game key card, and it's certainly interesting for the Switch ecosystem and something for owners, I think, to bear in mind, especially some of the rabid Switch fanboys. They're throwing a lot of hate at these game cards, and there actually may be a fundamental reason why. Anyway, I would say that on initial impressions, and I'm not very far into it, I had like a 20-minute blast on it the other day. It feels... The Switch 2, I don't know why, probably because I've been playing a lot of Switch 1 games on it, but it feels like witchcraft sometimes. You know, like Cyberpunk is a prime example of playing the Switch 2. Like, this feels like witchcraft. Star Wars Outlaws feels like witchcraft. I played it in handheld mode only, so I don't know what the full bells and whistles look like. But I was like, I mean, yeah, I can kind of see in places that it does look different from memory. But her hair texture on the PlayStation 5 always looked a mess. It kind of looks exactly the same on here as it did on the next-gen consoles. And for me, open world, I thought this is going to run like a bag of turd. Obviously, there was a lot of previews kicking around where people saying, don't get this, another Ubisoft cash grab, it's garbage. Well, Clown Boots had it on order, didn't he, unknowns to him. But in between then and now, there's been some reviews and more detailed previews come out where they're holding their hands up and saying, actually, they've got this working perfectly.
Yeah. I've seen a couple of reviews on it and comparisons with PS5, and although colours are slightly different, not in a bad way, not less colours, just a different palette in certain areas.
Yes.
Other than that, I couldn't really see a lot of difference. It looked very, very good. I know I'm watching it compressed on a screen. You know better than me because you've played it natively on your PS5 and your Switch too.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people thought when Cyberpunk came out and how good that was or is, people have sort of said, oh, that was just a bit of luck that they've got it running that well on there. But now it's happened again with Star Wars. I think people are underestimating how powerful Switch 2 is.
I don't think I underestimate it. I think Cyberpunk straight out the gates is pretty impressive. I do believe Cyberpunk and Star Wars Outlaws are already making Switch 2 sweat though. You know, it's not as though it's got Outlaws running and it's got a load of extra horsepower under the hood. We're talking one or two might have just sort of, you know, if you scrabble around with some code, you might find a couple of horsepower on the floor, but that's about it.
Yeah.
So I think this classic mindset trope of like, oh, this is what Switch 2 looks like at launch, and there will be a granular improvement. I'm not going to say there's not, but I think the difference between Switch 2 at launch and Switch 2 when it shuffles off this mortal coil, we're at the absolute upper threshold of graphical capability when we've got Outlaws. I think we should be grateful for that. What does that mean? Well, it means that the whole back catalogue of Xbox One, Xbox Series, Xbox One, back catalogue of PS4, and early crossover titles from PS4, PS5 era, that kind of genre game, easy peasy running on it, no sweat.
Which is quite impressive when you think how small the Switch is as a tablet handheld, but also how small the dock is when you compare it to a Series X or a PS5. It's powerful for this.
Yeah, its closest rival, a Steam Deck or a ROG or whatever you call them. So, yeah, I've been pretty impressed with that. Pretty, like I say, it feels like witchcraft. It feels like you shouldn't be playing it on there, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah,
it feels like a very kind of like a rare treat, which is super rewarding to have on there, and it's nice. Again, I don't think I'm going to be rushing to play Outlaws anytime soon, like I did when I first played it, but having it on there for that wet afternoon when you just want that in your pocket, unbelievable AAA adventure, that speaks volumes.
No, you just said it there, in your pocket. I mean, that's big games now in your pocket, and it's that leap from Switch to Switch 2. Switch was always brilliant at having those games in your pocket, but there's always that big compromise. And like we said on the Switch 2 show, that compromise is very small now. You're not being compromised by being a Switch owner or Switch 2 owner. You're not being compromised as much now because people are playing Outlaws on a PS5. You've got that, but you can take it with you if you want. There's that.
Exactly that. I do think we're, and I've been a rabid supporter of the Switch too. I think it's just hit at the right time for me. It's the right console, but I think let's just ground this in reality. If we think this thing is going to be playing PS6, it's in the same situation the Switch was when.
Yeah, it's a mid-gen sort of
when
console
the PS4 launched, for example. Like, oh, hang on a minute, it's just about hanging on the back doors of this console. Unbelievable. Yeah, unbelievable. But by the time the Switch 1 shuffled off, yeah.
But I think the only difference this time round is before, when companies that were releasing on all systems were releasing your big first party console games on, you weren't getting them on the Switch because they just couldn't do it. Now you are getting them on the Switch too. So you will get those games.
It's brought them back into the fold, and it's made the Nintendo ecosystem a viable place again for people who don't want to play the latest Mario platformer, which I have to say is a big boost. I kind of want to see some of the Switch game ports that came across, like Expeditions. I think deserves a rework. The Switch 1 game, yes, it'll work on the Switch 2, no doubt. But a Switch 2 version of something like Expeditions or a Switch 2 upgrade path for £10, I'm on board. Same for SnowRunner. Same for Witcher 3. There's lots of skin left in the game where these companies could make an extra 10 or 15 bucks from that upgrade. And it's not as though you have to. I've been playing Witcher 3 Switch 1 version quite happily. But if an upgrade came for £10, would I take it? As much as I would miss that rather sort of dogged-looking universe I now live in, I would take the upgrade.
Yeah.
I would. Yeah. But I think some of the straight out the gates, Witcher 3 was impressive on Switch 2. With the little micro adjustments Nintendo's been making to the backwards compatibility, and some games have come on in leaps and bounds and some have stayed static. I've seen it might just be my head and my perception, but I've seen just tiny little increases in draw distance, just little bits of changes in Witcher 3 that's been eliminating the pop-in from my experience and making the environment feel more solid. So, the most egregious one that's been left out in the dark is Jurassic World Evolution. I used to love playing that on the Switch. Don't know what's going on with my mic. I've chased it around every single corner of this room at the moment. I don't know. I really love playing Jurassic World Evolution on the Switch. It was a great game to take on the go. It was a fully fledged park management sim in your pocket. unless you want to play a 400-year-old roller coaster tycoon game, which I'm thinking about buying. So I've got one that's one hell of a compromise, and I think I've just always liked that classic roller coaster tycoon. I get distracted, but it's the only sort of part builder simulation sort of dinosaur game worth its salt on the console. But there's something gone wrong with the colours. Everything is bathed in this blue and pink light, and no matter what you do to the settings or change it, you can't get it to go away. So the menus look perfect. Everything looks solid. You go into the game, and it looks like...
It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it looks... Even though you're in the middle of a jungle, it looks like a cocaine-fueled Miami sort of, like, excessive. Yeah, it feels like Vice City, but like a bizarre version where you're seeing dinosaurs everywhere, and it kind of just brings down that like, oh, if this even if it was just running Switch 1 graphics and popping, I'm cool with it, but I can't enjoy it because of these colours. It's a big shame. So if that got a tweak, and what's the point in tweaking a game that you're not going to get revenue from? Yeah, but with the third game coming out and no sign of a Switch 2 port, you could rejig the graphics, and little pauper boys like me who want that JW Evolution 3 experience are going to have to just pony up and buy one. And you wouldn't want that to be broken, but it is.
Yeah,
I think I've probably bored everyone. I don't think I did quite the spirited service that it deserved, that you gave Story of Seasons, mate. I'll be honest with you. But I think it's time for the news to scour the very darkest regions of the internet to bring you the latest stories. First up, now, as I said, if you put 5,000 monkeys in a room with 5,000 typewriters, and there's a likelihood you might get a page of Shakespeare. Well, let's apply that logic to the UCP. And first in the news, courtesy of the rather hirsute-looking Ollie Reynolds on Nintendo Life, he's done a bit of digging. Ubisoft employee explains why Star Wars Outlaws is a game keycard. Get ready, RGT, because this is going to make your loins pop, because there's a little bit of Digital Foundry noise in here as well. So let's get stuck in. Star Wars Outlaws, as we've talked about, released on the 4th of September 2025. It's the latest in a long line of Switch 2 titles utilising the game keycard physical release. It's safe to say that most folks are under the assumption that the cost is likely driving the factor behind the use of the game keycard medium, with Nintendo supposedly only offering 64GB cartridges to third-party developers. Way to encourage people to release on your system. Anyway, over on the failed Twitter clone Blue Sky, Rob Bantin, who's the audio architect for Ubisoft's proprietary Snowdrop engine, yeah, guys, that's what you called it, explained the decision to use game keycards, and it's seemingly not anything to do with cost. Instead, it's all to do with disk streaming required for Outlaws open world, with Bantin stating that the Switch 2 cartridges simply don't offer the performance needed for Ubisoft to hit its quality target. Here's a quote. Snowdrop relies heavily on disk streaming for its open world environment, and we found that Switch 2 cards simply didn't give the performance we needed at the quality target we were going for. I don't recall the cost of cards ever entering the discussion, probably because it was mute. I think if we designed a game for Switch 2 from the ground up, it might have been different. As it was, we built a game around SSDs of the initial target platforms, and then the Switch 2 came along. In this case, I think our leadership made the right call. A little bit of extra information from John Linneman, good friends of the show over at Digital Foundry, empathised with the reason in stating, honestly, and this sucks, I do kind of get it. To match other consoles, they need storage that was fast, like a modern SSD, right? The cost on that stuff has not come down like the flash memory used for Switch 1 games. I think they probably did what they could, and even still, those costs cost $23 a piece. Naturally, the explanation here likely won't and can't be applied to every Switch game ever that's going to be released on a game keycard. Some of it is likely going to be tied to cost, but it's nice to see a more nuanced added to the conversation from both Bantin and Linneman. Message to the listeners, if you're listening, you got a Switch 2, how do you feel about that game card situation? While me and RGT chew on it like an out-of-date After 8 mint. RGT, I want to raise 2 points. At launch, I bought, I think, a 256GB card for my Switch. It's literally rammed to the rafters already for the Switch 2. a little bit disappointing. It's left me a little bit kind of like, right, okay, well, I think I maybe got half a terabyte even. I can't remember now. But it's now left me thinking, right, so I'm going to have to pony up and get a terabyte card for this thing because it's literally busting at the seams. That probably would allow me to have every single game ever on the machine that I've got in my library. My second point is we have seen even on the Switch One games that if you want Digital Foundry did some work on this. If you want the best version of Zelda on the Switch One, you need to have it installed to the console's memory because its read-write function is so much faster. If you have that on a genuine Nintendo card sat in the memory card slot, it works. Don't get me wrong, it works, but it's not as quick. So what do you think about this bit of news? Obviously, when game key cards were first mooted for the Switch, we all sort of dropped our heads. All the red spine collecting maniacs went a little bit nuts and said, I can't possibly have a red spine on the shelf without the game fully being in there, you little dogs. All that being said, what's RGT's thought muse on all that?
I think time will tell with key cards as in regards to future sales and trade-ins and bits and pricing of these as they go on. But I think as a tech side of things, I think you've got to look at it like, yes, they are, in some ways, they're quite a prehistoric way of doing games nowadays on a little cartridge, almost 3DS-like. And yes, never thought of it like that before, but obviously when you're playing a disc game on a PS5 and they're pumping that through an SSD, that's where you get your speeds from. Well, if you're playing it off a little cartridge, you're very limitations are there. And I think I wasn't a great fan of key cards to start with. I'm still on the fence with them, but I will say, if you said to me, right, you can play Star Wars Outlaws on your Switch 2, but it's gonna look like a slightly higher resed Switch 1 game, and it's going to chug along a bit at 30 and maybe drop to 15 because it's all on the cartridge. Or you could have the keycard version, play it at 60 FPS, and it looks like the PS5 version. I'm going to tap the keycard all day long.
1,000%.
So
the other little added note is when I went to download it, RGT, it needed me to clear 20 gig of space to make room for this sucker, which is small compared to its PS5 install, I believe.
Is that still using like the 64 gig card as well, or is it?
I don't think so.
That's literally the game on
that
the
literally is a key that says I own this game, therefore let me play it.
Yeah, let me download it. Basically,
it says on the box very clearly, you need internet to download this game. Game's not in this box. It's very, very, very clear. Does that mean you should have bought it digital from the get go? I'm thinking probably yes, RGT. But from a collecting point of view, I've got a card. It fits in my little Switch 2 carry case that I've got perfectly. It looks like a Switch 2 card to me. You'd be hard pressed to tell.
But also, I mean, you can resell these key cards at the moment. Yeah. You can. I mean, longevity of that, don't know. None of us do, but you'll be able to rebuy these. So yes, like you say, you might be able to you might be buying, just better to buy the game digitally in the first place. But
yes,
if you're late coming to games, you've got a bit of a backlog like me and George do, then you might look a year down the line and think, well, CEX has got it for half the price for a key card, physical copy. So that's where you might benefit. I think a lot of gamers, myself included, will come round to key cards. I think it'll just be, you won't think nothing of it. I think once people start picking them up secondhand and realising that you're all right, you can still put the card in, you can download the game, even though you've bought it cheaper. Nintendo still recognises that. They haven't gated it off, so you have to buy it brand new. I think everyone, that will sort of fade a bit in the background because we'll be getting these big open worlds, we'll be getting these massive games because of key cards. And I think that won't be so much of a compromise then.
I have to admit, it's a weird thing to get your head around. It's basically a digital game that you're buying a physical key for. That is a strange concept. But the plus side is, if you want to remunerate your asset, you can.
Yeah.
You can't from a digital store. You can't with a digital game. Yes, you are giving someone a key that gives them permission to download that game to their console.
Yeah.
That is literally what you're doing. But finish it, trade it, sell it, give it to your gran. I mean, virtual game cards kind of negate that a bit because you get like a week of play when you borrow a game off a mate. Yeah, and you don't need the card. It's like, here, have this.
And I think also, I mean, Nintendo tried it with Switch 1 with these ridiculous code in a box. I mean, they were just stranger codes in a box. Now, that
was offensive to me.
There was no need for that. That was ridiculous. But this is a compromise in the middle. If you're a digital gamer, it's probably going to benefit you to buy the game as a key card rather than digital.
Yeah.
Because you've got a sell on then. So, yeah, it is the best of both worlds. I don't think it's as egregious as people are making out when it first came out. I was a bit, hang on, I don't like this, I don't like this. I was the same. I was like, no, I want all my game on the card. I do not want this, But now you think about it, you think, hang on, RGT, just simmer down, fella, and think about it. You're getting the massive game, which is getting closer and closer to the other two.
Yeah.
All right, we're getting that graphics. Okay, that's out. But the game isn't on the card. Yes. But unlike the digital version, if you play the game and you're not a collector, trade it in, get yourself another keycard game. And in the long run, it's probably going to work out pretty good. It's a good compromise. It's a digital game that you can sell on.
I think also to refer back to the article as well, I think we need to inject this idea that actually, does this mean that the Switch 2 with these game key cards might have... We talked earlier about how with the inevitable arrival of the PS6 and Xbox whatever, this could struggle, but does this game card option give them a window to be like, actually, if we are just installed on the main console storage, we can utilize this SSD-like technology. We can actually bring a game we never thought we could ever when the Switch 2 was announced and we were working on the Switch 1 architecture. We looked and thought, oh my God, it's more of the same, but just yesterday is problem like it was today. But these game key cards, hang on a minute, we can actually, guys, we can get our new game running on Switch 2. It's almost Series S. It's kind of on the back doors of PS4 Pro, but then you play Outlaws and it feels a lot more significant power-wise in your pocket. Like I say, the whole thing feels like witchcraft. If you've got an opinion on it, message in. We've got lots of collectors.
Let us know what you think.
Your thoughts and whether this news has changed your opinion on the game key cards in any way. Doubtful, but you never know. Can't wait to get Scotty on.
It's definitely a compromise. I think it could be a decent
compromise. As I said
compromise.
last week, a compromise is two people agreeing to something that neither of them would have to initially, but just to move the job along. And I think the game key card is a prime example of that. RGT, what's the next bit of news?
Well, this next bit of news comes from Pure Xbox, from Fraser Gilbert again. Always writes great articles, just Fraser. This one is Indiana Jones Order of Giants DLC launches to, quote, mixed feedback in first 24 hours. It seems good, but there are grumbles about price and length. It's now been over 24 hours.
What she said.
Yeah, that's the usual gripes I get. It's now been over 24 hours since the Indiana Jones Order of the Giants DLC first launched on Xbox and beyond. And just like in the case of Hollow Knight Silksong, Bethesda didn't send any review codes out for this one ahead of time. We started playing it here at Pure Xbox brackets. Look out for our impressions, hopefully next Monday. So keep an eye out on Pure Xbox for that. But we've only come across one finalised review from an outlet so far, and that's from Game 8, which has given it a very impressive 86 out of 100. Here's what they said in their conclusion. The Order of the Giants expands Indy's world in the Great Circle with care, offering strong storytelling, atmospheric design, and a polished gameplay loop. Yet uneven combat balance, weaker puzzles, and a slightly constrained setting keep it from perfection. What it does well, it does with confidence, and it makes this DLC a worthy addition that proves great expansions don't need to reinvent the wheel to succeed. Nevertheless, the feedback has definitely been mixed so far, and mixed is actually the rating it has on Steam based on the first 50 users' reviews on there. In general, it sounds like people are enjoying the actual content of the DLC, but the negative stuff mainly revolves around it being far too short for the $20 or slightly less asking price. A few user reviews on Xbox Store paint a very similar picture to Steam as well. So let's start with a couple of positive user reviews. Teddy B on Steam. Fun, diversional with some good puzzles if you're on a fresh playthrough. This DLC feels more organic for getting into because you can beat the main story in 3 to 4 hours, and it feels like an extension of the Vatican level. That's not an epilogue to the secret ending like I was hoping for, and it's quite linear, but still a pleasure to 100%. Hellboy 632789, what a name, on Steam is wow.
Imagine Mum shouting him down for his dinner.
Yeah, Hellboy 632789, your tea's ready. It's more of the same game. I really enjoyed this game, and the DLC is just more of that, and it is enjoyable. I have played for a couple of hours, so I imagine I am almost done at this point. It definitely isn't going to be very long, but if you thoroughly enjoyed the base game, you will enjoy this DLC. You get the idea, right? If you like Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, you're probably going to like the Order of Giants as well. That's great news for those who just wanted more of the same from this DLC. However, it does seem like a lot of people, even the players who are praising it, are warning that you're not getting a lot for your money here. Again, just 2 more negative reviews that we have picked out. Bobuscus on Steam said, way too pricey for what you get. If you didn't get it from the premium edition, I would wait for a sale. Took me about 3 hours to finish the story and have maybe an hour left for the rest of the collectibles. Most of the DLC takes place in the sewer, so you can say it's mandatory sewer level. Twists were good, so was the final fight, but honestly, it's overpriced. And then Fuyu on Steam said it takes 2 to 3 hours to complete for just the main story, and most of the time is spent in Rome in the sewers, which is annoying to navigate and backtrack for remaining collectibles. I also encountered a bug preventing me from finding one of the mysteries and notes, and wasted 2 hours.
That's awkward.
Yeah, and wasted 2 hours trying to figure out why I couldn't get to them. Eventually, I was able to get to them after relaunching the game several times. But this definitely soured my experience even further. I think the only parts I liked about this DLC are the puzzles and the boss fight at the end, which were a bit more challenging than the base game. So yeah, there's your reasons for the mixed reviews. We're obviously going to need a little longer to see how it fares on the likes of Metacritic and OpenCritic, but it sounds like it's not going to reach the highs of the base game on there. Still, don't forget that if you bought any kind of premium version of Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, you can play this new DLC at no extra charge, and Game Pass members also get a slight discount on the standalone version if you're keen on checking it out this weekend. You might even be able to blast through it later tonight. Interesting,
quite rightly so. I just want to, for reference for the conversation that's going to take place, this is 17 GBP or the universal 19 bucks, which is probably going to find itself at that level across the world in various different stores, up or down by 5, but not much. 20 quid in this day and age, you'd think is throwaway money, but 3 times that you got a full price game. Some would even argue 2 times that. And we've talked about some well-priced games recently. And, we find ourselves slap back in this strange zone of DLC's worth. Now, I think if you bought the premium version of this game, fair play to you, but you paid through the nose for the DLC that was coming at 6 months down the line that you didn't know whether it was going to be good or bad. You took a punt. Fair play. You probably got a white fedora unlock for your sins. God knows that's pulled many a fool into paying money for tat. But I think for £20, this might be a bit of a stretch, but at what price point do you put something like this?
Well, the thing is as well, I think pricing at the moment is just a mess. Game pricing is all over the place. Some charging 80, then I've played through Mafia Old Country, which I pre-ordered and got pre-order bonuses for £37. Now, I spent 20 hours on that game. I think if you want a platinum that game, you're going to be spending 30 hours on for 37. So 20 hours, $20 for a 2 to 3 hour, maybe 4 hour DLC is a bit rich for me when it sounds just like an added level. That almost sounds like a bit of a level that they didn't add in, which they've just now charged for. So they haven't actually done any. It isn't actually an extra.
Yeah, I want to cut them a little bit of slack.
I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying it sounds a bit more of a generic level that was.
Yes, it does.
Extra charged.
Star Wars Outlaws sort of grieve from this a little bit. I bought both sets. They were, what, £12, I think, from memory. I
sounds about right to me.
Sale. Equidistant in length, I think, to this Indiana Jones DLC. So seemingly, if you knock £5 off, it's a price you don't mind paying. So what is this £5 between you and friends? Why is that £5 so egregious?
Well, because I think if you're keeping them around the £10-12 mark for these DLCs, some DLCs are £15, but you seem to get quite a lot with that. I think when you're pushing £20 for literally an afternoon of an extra level of a game for £20, when you've probably paid £60 for the game that you spent 35 hours playing, you suddenly think, this is, hold on a minute, the maths don't add up. Do you know what I mean? I guess it depends on who's putting the metric of value. Exactly. And at the moment, I think you can charge £20 because there's before we used to have £50 games and DLCs were between 10 and 15. And normally DLCs, if you were playing online games, you've got quite a lot extra hours worth with. But if you're playing story games. At Witcher 3, mate, I'm about to scratch into something that's going to give me a return on a similar return to the hours I've already pumped into the main game. Exactly. Do you know what I mean? So let's just give it the benefit of the doubt. 4 hours, £20 that you'll probably go through is just a level of the game. I don't know. It doesn't sit right with me. And let's do the UCP scale of destruction from DLC. Okay, up here is the main prize. We're talking horse armor for $5.99. Which is a skin, the most egregious, the first DLC and the most egregious DLC to ever exist on the. I'm messaging if you know of a worse one, right? But this is our metric, okay? Up here we've got horse armor. I don't know if this is going out on video, but let's just imagine my hands in the air. And down here we've got Indiana Jones. How close to the DLC of the horse armor is this? Is it halfway towards it? Is it 3/4 of the way? Or is it the full horse armor? The silly thing with me, DLC, I am not against DLC. I think it's brilliant. If you can add to your favourite game and play some more, brilliant. Even cosmetics, I don't mind. I mean, I put hundreds and hundreds of hours in the first crew game, which you can't play anymore, but that's a completely different conversation. We won't go down that route. Anyway, yeah, that's another can of worms up. Anyway, and I would buy cars on there, which were like £1.50, £2, £2.50, which is cheap, and you get an extra car. I think that's all good. If you want to expand the game and buy different vehicles, different skins, if they're cheap enough, I think it's good. I think everything needs to have a value. I'm not against any of that. If you play Call of Duty and you buy skins for your gun and all that, and it's cheap enough, I think it's when you get companies that will say you can have this gold armor for or this gold skin for your M16, but there's only 5,000 of them, so they're £100 each. It's when you start getting that where you think, hang on, keep all the gun skins the same price, and everyone can pick what they want or customize how they want. That's when they start taking advantage of people's loyalty to the game, where you think, well, hold on a minute. So for this as well, I think it's great to Indiana Jones. I haven't played, by the way, but I do know people who have played it, have really enjoyed it. Great game, well made, looks really good. Definitely something I want to play. So I think to do a DLC is a no-brainer. I think you can add to that, get an audience back in again. And obviously being on the PS5 as well, you might draw another audience in there and think, oh, there's extra to this, get it. But I just don't think £20 is the right price mark this should be at for such a short level. I think there's more DLC coming, so I feel like
pricing them slightly different to reflect the return on investment, this could have been 12 to 15.
Yeah.
And if there was a chunkier bit of DLC coming down the pipe, it could be 15 to 20.
Mm.
Do you think that would have hit the price point? Classic RGT, he's got no splinters in his arse because Indiana Jones, is it horse armor or not horse armor?
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Ever wondered what a rhythm-based stealth game with dinosaurs might look like? Or a farming sim in space with zombies? Welcome to the Gaming Blender podcast. I'm Matt, and with my co-host Scott, we take a random game genre and random game mechanics, blend them all up, and pitch wild, totally hypothetical games you've never heard of, and maybe shouldn't. New episodes every other week. Hit play and unleash your inner game dev. No coding required. Search the Gaming Blender on your favorite podcast app now.
In the middle. I'm sitting on the fence. That's why I got splinters in my arse.
That's why there's 0 splinters, because you hadn't jumped down either which way.
No, I think it's a good idea doing DLC for this game. I really do. I think it's that Uncharted sort of game. I think that's nice to have that extra levels to unlock this area, but I just think £20 is too much.
Do you know what my biggest grievance with the whole thing is? And I know people are going to be like, "Oh, George, get over yourself." Like, I do not want to play a first-person Indiana Jones game. That's my only grip with it. If it was third-person, and I know that might break the game, I don't care. It's what I would have wanted. And I am a big Indiana Jones nerd. I'm a Star Wars kid. I was raised on Lucasfilm.
I know what you mean. The only reason it's put me off is the first-person aspect of it, because I think it deteriorates your combat. I like the combat in third person. But
yeah, and I
know there'll be people out there saying, no, Uncharted would have been better if it was first person. I'm sure you love first person. But for that style of game, I think...
I just want to see him careering behind a box. I want to see him leap. I know when you do certain elements in the game, it switches to a third person, which I think is even more jarring. Commit or don't, or commit or don't. This cutscene, let's have him swinging across, land on the other side, back to first person. Like, that's immersion breaking. If I'm going to do it, make me do it all.
Yeah, I see what you mean, yeah.
But I see, in third person, you could have him walk into a market. You could have the camera pan back to give you that cinematic feel while you move to tiny little Indiana Jones around this market. He speaks to someone and the camera comes all the way back down again, so you're next to him in a conversation piece. There's some really cool bits, I haven't played the game. Is that
because there's the Wolfenstein guys, they're first person sort of...
Absolutely. That's their bread and butter. That's where they go to make a game, and they can tell a really impactful and interesting narrative through the first person. I've got nothing against them. I've got nothing against this retelling of Indiana Jones through the first person medium. It's just on the face of it, it is just not for me.
Yeah, I see where you're coming.
And on the perfect forward, if we go back to Seb's comments about this when it was announced, who's playing Indiana Jones? And in a way, he was right. It's not the rip-snorting success, because you've got to be 40 plus to give a rat's ass about Dr. Jones.
Yeah.
And if you're not, it needs to stand on its own legs as being a good game, which I kind of think it is. But there's so many good games out there. The kids are not buying this.
Yeah, very true.
So I also see this DLC pitched at the disposable income crew, 40 plus. So therefore, it's 20 quid.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
They'll lap it up because they need
very good point. They're aiming at the demographic that is buying the game. Yeah,
and to a 40 plus year old, 20 quid. I know everyone finds themselves in different financial situations, but you've probably got 20 quid kicking around.
Well, that's 2.5 pints nowadays if you go out drinking, and so
right. All right, so don't go out tonight, or a coffee from a high-priced coffee store. It's DLC. So it depends what you frame this up with, because someone will charge you 20 quid for 4 coffees, more, or say 3 coffees for 20 quid. The beans cost 2p. The staff costs about 50p, maybe less. The milk was 30p. The price up on coffee is way more than a video game. But we'll pay 20 quid for a Starbucks, but we go on the digital store and we're like, well, that's How dare you? But it probably spent someone longer to draw Indiana Jones' left nipple than it did for 4 people to create a barista coffee, RGT.
No, very true. Yeah, that is very true. But I still think £20 for 3 to 4 hours. I don't know. It might turn out that end up playing it one day and think, actually, this is a really good level. I'm really glad I played it.
By the time you get round to it, the whole package will be on sale for 20 quid.
CX, yeah, 9 quid. I'll have to figure everything.
Well, let's make this show look like a professional episode, because we talked about Bethesda's Indiana Jones game, right? And now someone else in Bethesda has, see what I did there, spoken out. Right.
Beautiful.
So in this last bit of news, we found it over on Push Square. If anyone's ever got their hand on a pen over at Push Square Towers, it's the immortal Sammy Barker. I hope you well. He writes this: the tension is hurting a lot of people. Ex-Bethesda boss speaks out on subs like Xbox Games Pass. The sub-headline, I saw short-sighted decision-making. Let's dig into what Sammy's got to say. If there's anyone best placed to speak on the impact of Xbox Games Pass, it's ex-Bethesda boss Pete Hines, who left the publisher in 2023. See what we've done here? Bethesda News, Bethesda News. It links. Ubisoft links us to what you've been playing. This links us to that. It's the Bayo Tapestry, but done by a blind man with one colour. Hines enjoyed us wildly successful 24 years at the company, and so he saw firsthand the impact of Microsoft's acquisition. And while he admitted he's been out of the picture for a little while, he said he saw some short-sighted decision-making several years ago, which seems to be bearing out the way I said. Now, let's go grab the full quote from DBLTAP as part of a wider interview which touches on Prey, Elder Scrolls, and much more. So if you want to go dig it up, listen to the full hit, you can do. But here's this specific quote that focuses in on what we want to talk about. So he said, I'm not working in any of these companies anymore, so I don't assume that everything I knew while I was in the industry still holds true today. At the same time, I'm involved enough to know I saw what I considered to be some short-sighted decision-making several years ago, and it seems to be bearing out the way I said. Subscriptions have become a new 4-letter word, right? You can't buy a product anymore. When you talk about a subscription that relies on content, if you don't figure out how to balance the needs of the service and the people running the service with the people who are just providing the content, without which your subscription is worth jack shit, then you have a problem. You need to properly acknowledge, compensate, and recognize what it takes to create that content and not just make a game, but make a product. The tension is hurting a lot of people, including the content creators themselves, because they're fitting into an ecosystem that is not properly valuing and rewarding what they're making. Ex-Sony executive Sean Layden recently made similar comments on Xbox Games Pass, arguing that it's turning developers into wage slaves. He was quick to share Hines' comments on social media, saying Pete's quote nails it. Despite a ton of discussion on the topic, Microsoft has always insisted its subscription service is profitable, although it's gone through various price increases and adjustments over the past few years, and the company obfuscates its actual profits. PlayStation, to its credit, has consistently said it believes the Xbox Games Pass model is unsustainable. Early in the generation, the organisation was put under a lot of business pressure to copy the business model, which some could argue was a mistake. It eventually introduced multiple tiers of PS Plus, which provide a rolling catalogue of releases, including some day one games. However, it's always resisted the temptation to devalue its own software in the service upon release. Industry-wide subscription spending has been up in the US recently, but it remains stagnant for several years despite price increases. Ultimately, we think it's probably safe to say that Xbox Games Pass does represent great value. It's not the future of gaming as was hypothesized at the start of the gen. Now, Sammy's stitched together quite a coherent sort of article there. Now, admittedly, there isn't really anything within there to fight the corner of Games Pass, which for this to be a well-rounded argument, I think it needs to be. So I might need to serve as the de facto fan of subscription models, just for the sake of this conversation, so you've got something to rail against, RGT, because there is value. There is for the gamers potentially, depending on where and when you're stopping off and stepping in point to gaming was, there is some value locked in there. But it seems that even the developers and core, what you would call Xbox team members, I don't think there's any doubt that Pete Hines is definitely in that mold. He didn't like it, but he didn't like it not for the reasons that we don't necessarily like it. He didn't like it because he felt he put developers in a tough spot. Now, I want to add a little bit of extra in there because I did read an article earlier in the week, and forgive me because I can't reference it. I don't know where I read it, but there were some people talking about developing a game for the Xbox ecosystem and Games Pass primarily, your 10-minute hook. So they're now designing these games to present a really addictive hook in the first 10 minutes, or action upon action upon action for that first 10-minute showcase, because then you may continue with the game. Because we've also seen, because it's so easy to get games, and I think as gamers we're all guilty of this, we grab a game, download it for 6 hours or stream it immediately, get about 2 minutes in and go, wow, there must be something better on the store. I'll park this and do that. So with all that going on, RGT, let that just coalesce in the back of your mind. But the bulk of the first bit here, what do you make of Pete's comments, and how does that bear out to you as a gamer?
Yeah, I think this comes back to, I remember us discussing this on the show a couple of years ago, and I remember saying to you, I think the overall first picture of Games Pass is, if you're a gamer, if you're on a budget or you're an Xbox gamer, it's a great deal. But I always said I was always worried about whether the quality of games would drop drastically. And the reason I say the quality of games would drop drastically is because if you're making Ghost of Tsushima, or you're making Death Stranding, or you're making Uncharted, you make the best game you can with your budget you've got, and you hope that this becomes a banger, and you make your buck back because it's so popular. Everyone's love it, talking about it. 90% game, 10 out of 10, blah, blah, blah. Everyone loves it.
Yeah.
Now, the problem is, if you're then about to make a game for Xbox Games Pass and you think that you're going to be a banger, needs a 200 million budget, and they turn around and say, well, we'll give you 100 million to put it on there. Well, because they're not going to get an extra 100 million of subscribers just to play your game, especially if they're just using a free month to play it to start with.
Yeah.
So you're instantly on the back foot straight away because you're getting 100 million and that's it. And that's where my worry was, because these developers are going to be making to a budget.
Let me just insert here. You've got £100 million to make this game, but you also know that no matter what your initial thoughts about the gameplay loop was, you've almost got to make a demo version for the first 10 minutes to keep people even slightly interested as well. So you every single step of the way, there's a vision compromise for a creator, and I don't ever want to see a vision compromise. Yes, price, technological stat of the console, all being well, fair play, but I don't want to see his vision compromised because of a price or service window. I think that's a bit egregious. Like George Lucas, yeah, it's my plan for Star Wars. Yeah, great, but the first 10 minutes, can it be an advert for coffee? No.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, and I think at the end of the day, if you're making a game for game sales, you will make it to the best of your capability. If you're making a game for a certain budget that you have been given for a streaming service, you will make it to that budget, or under that budget if you can. So there's a quality compromise straight away. Now, I might be just taking this down to the most basic of terms. I'm not a game developer. I'm not an expert on Games Pass. People might be listening to this saying, oh, RGT, what absolute trash are you talking? But that's the way I see it. And I think,
RGT, you've got a microphone. Your point, your opinion is 90% more valid than the rest of the universe.
Well, I don't know about that, but definitely not. But I think from what I said originally, I think that has taken its turn a bit. And I think, yes, Xbox have been making these good games, your Indiana Jones, your Forza Horizon 5s, blah, 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 but they've had to put them on the competitive system to earn some money back from them games because they had the big budgets, but they didn't get the increase in sales of Games Pass. So it's a tricky one. Do I think Games Pass is the future of gaming? No. Do I think a streaming service is in the future? I think there will be a streaming service in some form or another. But I think it's like most things in life or most businesses. If they're producing a product to sell, you want to make it the best product you can.
Yes.
If you're making it for a set price that you've already been paid, you will make it to that budget, which doesn't necessarily.
Let me flip the script again. I haven't gamed since I was a kid. I had a PlayStation 1 and, I had a PlayStation 2 for a while and I sold it for beer money. And my life's changed a bit now and I'm settled down. I've got a wife and kids and I'm looking for something to do on a night time. And I've been looking at the games and I'm not really sure. This Xbox is talking to me. They've got this Game Anywhere thing, which I can't work out because I'm too old by any metric to work that out. But I'm old enough to be able to walk to the shop and get Series X. It's coming bundled with 3 months of Games Pass. Well, I'll do a quick Google. Hundreds of games. Let me get this. Now, straight out the gates, PS5 and PlayStation Plus, or the name that's the game, the manufacturer that's won the universal word for game subscription service is Microsoft Games Pass. Let's focus on that. And they're the ones who have kind of bedded down in it the most. I'm taking this home. 46 years old. I haven't had a console since the PlayStation 1. I've set it all up. That 4K telly that me and the Mrs. Scott's come in a perler here because I'm got 120 FPS in the back. Yeah, sorted. All set up and running. Gone on Games Pass. I've downloaded Indiana Jones because that was one of the things that attracted me to it in the first place. It's totally free to play. I'm hyped. They're even offering the DLC for £7 because I'm a Games Pass subscriber. And I'm sure I read on the internet people kicking off about that. Feels like a great deal. This gamer, I think would listen to our conversation and probably call you an arsehole.
Thanks. Yeah, if for casual gamers, a subscription service is probably a good way to go. I think this Play Anywhere thing, you could probably just play it for your Amazon Fire Stick if you want to play it.
And that's I did sort of caveat there. I wanted to kill that dead because there's another option for Johnny come lightly.
Yeah, because he might go or Google it and go, hang on, I don't need to spend 500 quid in a Series X. I can play it on my Fire Stick.
Let's say that's beyond him. He's a traditionalist. He's been and bought the console. He's doing all this. He's playing all this. To him, he's having a great experience. He doesn't have a lot of disposable. Yes, he's saved up for his Series X, but he's not. It's Johnny's birthday next week. He needs to get the missus' anniversary present. He ain't got money coming out of his ear rolls. But he's got all the latest games. What I don't understand is why is Johnny come lately not the figurehead of the Xbox marketing campaign for Xbox Games Pass? To me, get your eyes on the guys that could make this work. Don't chase PlayStation gamers. Chase a metric you've never unlocked.
I think that's probably why there's everything is an Xbox now, because they realise that casual gamers, you can chuck it a casual gamer.
How's that working for them?
No, that's what I mean. It's too little, too late. But I think that's why they've changed now, because I think their original idea was, we'll aim at people who just want, rather than go out and go to CEX and find these games they want, or go in game, or go in, wherever Argos and buy the games they want. They just literally think, I'm going to dabble in gaming again. I ain't done it for 10 years. I'll just get Games Pass and play what I want. The problem is, hang on, I'm on Newsnight tonight. That casual gamer is not going to go out and spend £500 on a console. That casual game is going to turn and go, I just want to play something on a Saturday. I'm not spending £5. So they've now turned track and said, hang on, you can play it on your TV, you can play it on your phone, you can play it. And they've but almost they're fighting against themselves, because they're now saying, don't worry, you don't need a console, you can play this, but then your hardware sales are dipping. So
Xbox have always been one step ahead, one generation or maybe two generations of times ahead of where they actually need to be. The 360 was a prime example. They released a banging store. They released a banging online service. It made a difference. But next gen, everyone adopt that as a universal standard.
Yeah,
and
I think
they've had we're going to be one box in your living room. Before streaming services were adventing, they were there allowing you to plug a TV aerial in the back of your console. So you just had this all-in-one entertainment hub. One gen ahead of its time. They've now looking to... they've obviously walked back on this a little bit, because at Microsoft's sort of hardware division is sweating his balls off backstage trying to get something, and everyone keeps just pulling the hardware away from them. But you'd imagine next gen and the one after, if you're existing on a console, and I don't know how some people like Nintendo are going to cross this sort of pantheon, but you're probably dead. So,
well, I think the argument there is, especially with the 360 and how they done the store and Xbox Live and online gaming. I mean, even started from the original Xbox with the online gaming side, but everyone looked at that and went, "That's where gaming's going. We need to do that." The problem is with Games Pass, it was almost trying to force the market. And that ain't necessarily what the games industry wanted to do or what necessarily the games industry wanted.
Yeah.
So now Xbox have gone, no, this is the future for the, we're a console ahead. We're 2 generations ahead. And everyone's gone, well, hold on. No, this isn't proven to work.
And we need to make money now, not in 20 years' time.
Yeah, exactly. And they're sort of gone, I don't really know. PlayStation sort of thought at first, I put one foot in and went, yeah, we're going to do this. And then sort of thought, hold on. Hold on a minute.
I want to bump it onto a different conversation, a more selfish one, based on what we've talked about. But one thing I want to explore, Johnny come lately, okay? He remembers picking up games at Game. He remembers picking up games at Electronics Boutique. Now, he remembers that in his distant memory with a little bit of nostalgia, but part of his gaming experience, and mine, and yours, and a lot of people's, although it's proving harder to do, was the walking the physical store. Do you think that you are, I mean, you're a peculiar cat, but I'm finding it harder, like Smiths, if you want to look at a new game on the shelf. I mean, yes, you can buy them from a multitude of places, but you can't pick the box. You can't pick a copy of a box up and read the back and go, is this for me or not? You can in Smiths, you can in CEX, but the product is secondhand. There is no, apart from your mum and pop retro stores, to which we're very grateful to those people. But without those main branded places, CEX almost walks itself out of the conversation because it's used. So the only place you can go and really en masse, like Curry's have got an area, Asda have got a half-baked area, but it gets smaller every time I go in there. It's the only place you can go and peruse a box back. Do you think there's some mourning for that experience, or do you think it's just one of those memories that no one even thinks about anymore?
No, I think there is. I think the issue is with the digital side and the streaming services almost forced upon people, casual gamers, and people coming into the market, especially younger generation. They don't feel that. My daughter has never been to buy a physical game in her life. She's a PC gamer. She's never been to buy because she doesn't even think of what, she's 20 years old. I'm sure I'm my age, but she's 20 years old. She wouldn't go, oh, Dad, I'm just nipping to Ipswich. I'm just nipping to Norwich to buy a physical game. She just goes on Steam. On Steam.
But bizarrely, my son was going away. He wanted to get a game, wanted to go in CEX. So
that gives me hope. That gives me hope. They're still out there. Bring back EB Games. Come on.
Bring it back. I think that draws a line under the news. I want to do a little quick Discord moment. No, not Discord, actually. What we're going to do, we're going to get selfish. If you've listened to this show and you found any enjoyment in it whatsoever and you're about to go splurge on a coffee, quit for today, make one out the kettle. Because for £3, you can become a supporter of the show. There is no other show that gives a T-shirt for the minimum subscriber level. We do. Okay? So look at it this way. £3, you got yourself a T-shirt. Even if you round it up, it's not that much for a garment, especially one representing your favourite show. You support and listen. You've only got to listen back the last 3 weeks, and we're throwing money back at you like rain on a wet March afternoon. So, you give to get back, you get back to give. Get in on probably the most generous show going. Hopefully you've enjoyed the content. There's a Discord in the background as well. We're not going to get lost in the weeds on that today. But just if you support the show, and there's so many of you that listen that don't, I would love to welcome in a 285 episode hardcore listener that we've never met before and wanted to sub to the show. To me, you are the unicorn. I want to talk to you. I want to meet you. I want to send you a T-shirt. Just go to the bottom of where you've heard this on an audio platform. There'll be a little link. Go over there, press the £3 button. RGT will make the rest happen. He's that good. He is slicker, to coin a UCP phrase, than a greased weasel sliding down a piece of glass. That's how slick you are. Now, if you have subscribed, one of the perks, and here's a reason to make yourself feel good, you're going to get your name read out on the show. We're now entering that section of the show, RGT. Now, if you think that we're just going to read out your name, Joe Smith, no. We're going to have a little bit of fun with it, but it's all in the spirit of the show. So if you want to be semi-ridiculed by two men who probably need ridiculing themselves, this is where you queue up for it, RGT. Let me hop across to our Discord chatter farm, and there we see in front of us the names of our lovely supporters. First, second, or what? What's going on?
I'll let you go first.
Okay, I like what you've done, so I'm going to go in. I'm going to suit up like Henry V at Agincourt. I'm going to go up and down the crowd of people in front of me on a grey pony to show that I'm humble. I don't need a big white steed. Not at all. I'm at the front wearing my crown. I want everyone to see me. I turn and look at my assembled army. And a moment of panic sets upon me because there's one guy. But it doesn't matter because I know he's worth legions upon legions upon legions of anybody else's fans. It's Carlos, the one-man George fan army.
Oh, thank you, Carlos. Absolute legend. Then we have the very intelligent, the very good-looking, the very well-spoken, firm returns. Thank you, my friend.
Which means I get to sit down and dine out on some of the finest buffalo wings that side of the earth. It's Trestles of New York.
Then we have the guy with the greatest Dreamcast collection. Every time he gets a couple more games and uploads his collection as is so far, I just keep thinking, I always message how many left. He's going for a complete Dreamcast collection. He's got it in this lovely unit, backlit with yellow. Oh, yes. Nerding out with that one. It is Roast Space Monk. Thank you very much.
As you say, if M&S did Dreamcast collections, it would be Roast Space Monk's retro gaming area. You better take the next one because apparently I need to take the one after that.
Oh, yes. So we have the awesome Bada Binkster, our Italian stallion, but also just lately he's been wearing, he collects football shirts as well. So if you don't know about that, hop on the Discord and check out. But he's got a couple of the gaming ones lately, PlayStation sponsored football shirt and a Super Nintendo one. Oh, these shirts are absolutely...
I would give my right arm for a Dreamcast Arsenal shirt. I don't even like Arsenal. I don't even like football. But if I could cruise round in one of them, I'd feel like...
I love that PlayStation one. I think it was it Community Corrections. I think it was an American team. I might be wrong. Sorry if I am. But and the Super Nintendo sponsor looked really good. But yeah, Bada Binkster. Thank you very much.
Up next, I was watching an episode of it was an old episode of Gardener's World with Jeffrey Hamilton, and he had found he's a real person.
Where's his head?
If you're not sure.
Head?
Also, before I get distracted, I've been playing through Death Stranding 1. I'm about halfway through it, just FYI. I think I mentioned it a few weeks ago, but I didn't want to let it go by. I was like, how's you getting on with that game? There you go. I'm still playing it. Anyway, I was watching this episode with Jeff, and he had made a kind of America's area of his garden, and in there was a peculiar-looking plant. It looked like a potato, but at the top it produced like a ripe-looking fruit, which when he plucked down, opened it up, it was Pringles, right? But what he needed to do to get more fruit, because it was only produced in the little snack boxes, and he wanted the foot-long...
Full girth.
Yeah, the full Jeff.
That's a new catchphrase. T-shirt idea, Bada Binkster. The full Jeff.
Why is that activated us both? Right.
I don't know. Because we're children, that's why.
So the only way to get this tree to produce more fruit is if he employed a Pringle pruner. So thank you to you, sir, for your support. Who's
That's
next?
Tingle Tuna, by the way. Thank you.
Oh, is it? Oh, I thought it was Pringle Pruner.
Next up, we have the quizmaster himself, the hostess with the mostess. It is Digital Monkery. It's been a very interesting museum this week. I'll leave it there.
He's like the Rosemary Ford of the show, isn't he?
Definitely.
Okay. Up next, this man is not intimidated by the hairsuit gamers. He's not even intimidated by the hairsuit skaters, because this man stands above them all, blinding them with his brilliance and chrome dome. It's the Bald Border.
Next, we have... do I have to do the Call of Duty special?
Yeah, why not?
Gun brand. Bobaloba, thank you very much.
What an absolute predator. Now, never in the field of human endeavours has one young man stood up and done more for his country and the people within it and those around, and for us as well, than Ginge.
Yeah.
My red-headed stepson, at the moment, wearing the Ponsonbury suit of armour, is out there on the ragged edge. We wish you the very best, son. If this has got you round a 5-mile run, knowing that the speed you travel, you're probably already back and taking your shoes off.
Yeah.
But we wish you the best, Ginge. Got a T-shirt winging its way to you. The Ponsonbury Army T-shirt. Ginger's,
yes. Yeah.
He's put himself in the firing line for one of those. We're very grateful to you.
Absolute legend. If there is such a thing as reincarnation, or if there is, I want to come back as Ginge.
What, so you can get a hug from me?
Just because he's awesome. He's got loads of platinums. He's good looking. He's fit. He's muscular.
Mate, he showed me his body transformation. Not only now is he amazingly strong, but the guy can go for hours. I mean, Mrs. Ginge, God bless you, Duck.
Anywho, next up, we have the Lord of Darkness himself, who is now, I should say, the YouTube channel is about 2,000 subscribers.
Wow.
And that is Harvey Retro. Well done on your subscribers. Brilliant.
Sat at home on a
well
pile
deserved.
Sat at home on a pile of YouTube cash. He looks like Scrooge McDuck.
Scrooge McDuck. But yeah, well done. Yeah, but thanks also for your long-term support.
Last week I was trying to work out where the geographical location is that's nowhere near Berlin. One could argue that's anywhere.
Well, yeah.
And that's where I found it. Nowhere near Berlin.
Well, I will jump onto the one that you've just missed, and that is the lovely Emma Sharp.
I've got a restraining order.
Yeah, I did. I advised her on that.
So I didn't miss it.
It was actually for you and Tom, but yeah, so it's a double restraining order after the apps.
Let me tell you, now that's like a red rag to a bull, that putting a restraining order on Tom.
I did worry about that.
With a female, it suddenly made her 4,000 times more desirable. She was already, probably the most desirable female listener of the show. Now,
yeah. Well, he did when I phoned him to tell him about the restraining order. He just went, challenge.
Yeah.
I
feel like the UK legal system has made a big mistake.
Yeah.
It's lit the fuse on quite possibly the biggest pocket rocket Emma's ever seen. Who's next?
I think it's your turn. Yes, you.
So when you said you were going to jump on, I was like, oh, wow, that's an interesting take. So I'm going to jump on Mumsy, as you said you were going to.
Wow. Thanks, Mumsy. Next up, we have the only fan club with more than one member. Forget that they're family members, but there's more than one member.
Don't ruin it like that.
The RGT fan club. Thanks, Mum.
Fair play to you, you foolish people. Up next, a man who...
What a legend.
Yeah, you see, even Ginge has to bow down to the strength of the immortal Pete Brocklehurst. He doesn't live in reality. He lives in a sort of ephemeral medieval world. But he bench presses the Burj Khalifa.
And like I've always said, if we get to the stage where we have a live show with a really hefty size audience, then our very own Max and Paddy, Ginge and Pete Brocklehurst will be on the door.
Wow. Can you hear me now? Who's next?
I'm on the bus. Next up, we have love him or hate him, but he's been a long-time supporter. It is Billy Marmite. Thank you so much, Billy.
And I love the way this works out, because when you know you've got Simon Pryke in your mouth, you know you're safe from a full face covering of a Zangief. So I'm going to say thank you to Simon, absolute legend, quietly in the background supporting the show. So RGT, that
thanks for the lead in there. That was very well done.
So
yes,
what I want you to imagine is that you've ended up a bit sort of down and out money wise.
What do you mean imagine?
Okay, so method act yourself. You're down and out money wise, and you've had a phone call from a guy called Ben, last name Dover. He said, I've heard about you being a bit tight for money. I've heard you're a bit of a performer. I'm thinking that our universe is tied together. Can you demonstrate to me your on-screen Zangief? Now, what you need to remember is you need this job. Oh, God, you need this job. Okay? Your family aren't eating at home. Okay? That also means that some activity backstage isn't happening either. So the situation is pretty desperate. And you've got this 3-second window to perform to secure yourself.
3 seconds? I'm not a machine.
Well, how long do you want?
A second would do.
Let's say 5 seconds, because
wow.
Well, part of being
I'm not doing 2 of them.
Part of being an actor is you got to be a convincing liar. So if you've got to do like a dual Zangief to make this work, that's what I want to see. I'm now him, right? And I'm saying to you, I'm giving you a chance here, RGT, to make a little bit of cash dollar for the beloved Mrs. RGT. You don't want her in it. You don't want her in it, do you?
No.
Okay.
And so, also, by the way, Mum, can you just skip forward a minute, please? Carry on.
That's 50% of the listenership dropped.
Oh, sorry, Dad. Can you skip as well? That's it. No one's lifted.
Okay, perfect. So now, with the eyes of the world turned away from you, give me your Zangief.
Dad. Son. But was that long enough, Ben?
I'll be honest with you.
Have I got the job?
I wanted to see a tsunami. What I got was a speck of rain from a sunny sky. But do you know what? With a little bit of CGI, we get you the right diet. The noise was great.
Yeah.
But not a lot of content.
Yeah, I sort of, sound-wise, I'm a tornado, but I'm more of a light drizzle.
Yeah, and that's...
Yeah, mate. Yeah.
Finish the show. I can't.
Oh, dear. Anyway.
Wow. Okay.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
Busting out the dark place that Michael Fish resides in, here you are. Okay, he failed to predict a hurricane, and to be honest with you, you failed to predict a rather subpar Zangief. It doesn't matter. Everyone's had their readout. So now we only know that the next thing that follows is I ask you what your supply.
Thank you. More Grand Bazaar. I've only about 10 hours in on that so far and hardly scratched the surface of it. So it's definitely going to be that little game in the background, just chipping away at. Want to start something else on my PS5 because I hardly touch it at the moment and I need to play something else. But as you can see, I've got a lot of games behind me. And when I was rearranging this games room, it suddenly made me realise how many games I haven't played and how many games are sealed. So I'm not going to... yeah. Yeah. So I'm not going to purchase any more games. I'm going to be playing something from these backlogs around here somewhere or other.
Thank God for the back catalogue this gen. I don't know why I'm so ungrateful for all the nice big games that are coming out, but there's some solace in just going through the back catalogue. And
so definitely playing some bits like that. And also now I've just about got the older consoles now. As if people don't know, I used to have a lot of CRTs set up. I've reduced CRTs all the way down, and I've gone with an OSSC and gone through upscaling on a modern telly, and I've just about got that leveled and set up now with most of the consoles, PS2s, original Xboxes, all running through the modern TV in 1080p goodness. So I will probably be looking at OG Xbox, PS2, something around there that I've always been wanting to play. Now I can sit and play it in the living room. So something around there.
The only compromise with that is it's like you have to pick a TV setting that's a big compromise, don't you, when you're playing a PS2? Some games support 16:9 full screen, some don't. So often I find, and even then, the window that the PS2 presents itself doesn't fill necessarily a big screen.
And also I find with my TV's got built-in AI, so it when you put your whatever, because I have through an HDMI selector, I have Mrs. RGT's OLED Switch, I have my Switch 2, I have my PS5, I have Series X, I have and the Retron and all that, all through an HDMI selector. Well, that even for a selector, my TV, the AI will go, that's a Switch 2, here's the best settings, here's the best sound, here's the best, that sets it automatically for you, which is flawless. But with an OSSC, it sort of goes, here's something that I don't quite know what that is, and that the TV sort of says, do you want AI? Because I'm not really sure what this is playing through here. So you have to sort of set it yourself each time. Even though it still looks good in 1080p, you sometimes sort of change the settings a little bit and think, well, I mean, that's way better. So it does confuse the TV set a little bit.
So are you saying that AI on for the retro consoles or AI off?
AI off, because I think because to go on to go through HDMI or 4K, but I mean I'm playing 1080 through the OSSC. The TV's not really sure what an OSSC is. It knows it's 1080, but it sort of goes, we've got a games console. Should we set that for a PS3, or should we set it for a Switch 2, or should we set that for a PS5? It doesn't quite know what that console is. And also, as they're all different but running through one system, it's not terrible. You can play all them in the settings that gives you, but sometimes you sort of change the colour a little bit in bits, and you realise that it's actually better if you turn the AI off on that channel for the OSSC. But yes, I'll be playing something.
I find that with the more modern consoles, PS4, PS5, Switch, Xbox, whatever, I just let the telly do its thing. When I've ever had an older console pumped into it, I've got my PS2 going in through component on my older Trinitron, whatever it is, Bravia. It's HDR and everything, but it's not the latest tech. It's probably 10 years old getting on, to be fair. So it's still doing its trick. I find if I present to it the PS2 in its rawest form, so I turn off all the AI, all the image sharpening, all of it, and yes, it produces a little bit of a jagged game at times, but it's pure.
The one thing I think I've gained from the AI on this is the sound, because it measures the room. It will send bings out and it measures your room. So whatever you're playing, it will set to what the sound is best for the area you're in. Which is, so if you're watching, say, me and Mrs. RGT are watching a movie on Amazon Prime, for instance, that'll say, hang on, with this sort of film and your surround, do you want me to change this sound to this for you? And you go, okay. And then suddenly you hear it all around you, like, that's pretty clever. That's good.
Perfect. So, okay. Well, you wanted a game to take away and do homework with today. You wanted a PS2 banger.
Did I want homework? I didn't believe
you wanted a game to play on your setup. You were going to go PS2 original Xbox library, something in that sort of genre.
Well, I was thinking of looking through those libraries, but yeah, go on then. What are you going to suggest? Is this going to be another ridiculously expensive one that I've got to go hunting or fly to Japan to pick up?
If you don't have this, you're failing as a man.
Well, that's obviously one I haven't got then.
24 the game.
Yeah, I was sitting up there.
You and Mrs. RGT are going to sit down.
Have I got to unseal it, or should I play the collector's edition one? That's not sealed.
Well, play the unsealed one. You've answered your own question.
Yeah, I haven't got a sealed one. I'm not. I was about to say I'm not that bad, but I
Yeah,
am
but
that
you are,
bad.
aren't you?
You do know
So,
that, yeah.
24, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. I put my thoughts up 3 years ago on that game, and I still think it's actually pretty strong. I think it's good, especially if you were fresh off a 24 watch through. I think that game would be manna from heaven. The little details, the attention to detail that goes on in there compared to the show is really well done, and I do believe it's an HD game as well. So you should be. I don't know how you're going into.
Is that like the 480i, 480p?
Yeah, how are you going from PS2 to the OSC or whatever you call it?
On the OSC, it's got a digital display.
Yeah, but what cable? What is the harmonization cable between the PS2 and
the
that?
PS2 is running through component.
Right, so it's the full ticket already.
Yes. So on the older consoles, I have swapped the really older consoles to SCART. They go through
clean.
So I have a SCART selector and then the SCART into the OSSC into the TV. On the other consoles that have them, I have component cables into the component selector. So I have two selectors and one SCART, one's component, and they're all labeled. So you've got original Xbox, PS2, blah, blah, blah. The other side, you've got Mega Drive, Mega CD, blah, blah, blah. So Super Nintendo, and they run that way and all in, and they all come onto one channel. So,
wow. Okay.
Does that sound nerdy? Have I just degraded myself?
No, I don't think. I think your fan club's one member down, but I think you've survived. I think you've come out all right.
Yeah.
It's very nerdy, but it's interesting stuff. So the PS2 on that game, you'll be able to get it to output in HD.
Yeah. Well, my upscaler will. They're not always the best, but you can upscale any of those consoles to 1080. It's not a 720. It will go to 1080.
You're going to pump in a 480p really super clean image straight off that game. Latter gen PS2 game. It's going to clean it up and stick up on the screen the cleanest 1080p image you've ever seen. I am very excited to see a screenshot of this later tonight. Even if you don't play it, I want to see a little tick.
Yeah. And sometimes, though, I've found with original Xbox, some of the games you will put on 1080 and think, that looks so good. So you drop it to a 720 or even a 480, and then that's what they were supposed to be at, and they look better. But sometimes you upscale them to a 1080 and think, whoa, that looks really good. That PS2 game looks very good in 1080. So yeah, the upscaler is very good for the money.
Interesting.
Really recommend it.
Is that what you're hoping to play?
Yes, that's that done.
Okay.
I went off on a bit of a tangent. I do apologise.
That's cool. I mean, I'm the king of tangents, so I've got absolutely zero legs to stand on around here.
He's the king of tangents.
If you heard the solo show last week, you'd be like, yeah, George, I bore witness to the king of tangents, pal. 1 minute you were talking about RGT Spoon, the next minute you were talking about someone in the games industry. We're still trying to decipher what any of that meant. It's like getting a code from an alien civilization. Like, what does this even mean?
Hieroglyphics in audio form.
That's the solo version. What am I hoping to play? Well, a very quick round robin. I'll probably play a little bit of Death Stranding. It's the most sort of socially.
So you plan for the first one again, aren't you?
Yeah, just to really refresh everything. And
yeah. Good
still
idea.
as enjoyable second time round. I'm playing the director's cut, so there is some things I haven't seen. There are some things I didn't do. Not much, and there's a little couple of things that have happened in the director's cut. It's like, I don't remember that. This is new content. I'm enjoying this. I'm happy. I'm a pig in shit sort of scenario. I'm lapping it up. Some of the delivery missions probably don't hold that same weight that they did the first time round, because you've already played through it, so you kind of know how it's going to go. So there's an element of that. But there's still plenty of deliveries that I never did. Not that it really changes anything. You just find some lost cargo or whatnot. It's the same cutscenes. But, there's something about it for me. I've always loved the game. I like that core thing, and I've tried to stay well away from all news, spoilers, even reviews of Death Stranding 2. But I spoke to OG Tom not that long ago, and I said the only fear I have for Death Stranding is that they've taken it down a route. In my mind, I imagine it's going to go down route A. But, the author may decide he's going to take the whole thing down route B. Now, I'm sure I'll like route B, but I was turning up for a bit of a route A. And I've heard there's a little bit of stuff going on with the story and the mechanics and things that made me go a bit, ooh. But we'll get to it. Like I say, my other thing I'm probably going to be playing the most is going to be some more No Man's Sky. I want to keep making my Corvette look cool. I want to get some, if you're into movie effects or whatever. Currently, I'm greebling my ship. Go Google that if you want a thoroughly boring time, but also might pique your interest. So I'm greebling it. I'm adding detail to make it look spacey, you know, and then no doubt, well, a little bit of an update for you on Persona 4. We've had some very late nights. Rachel's got very far in the game. I can't talk highly enough about the loop. I'm kind of looking forward to, like, she's thoroughly enjoyed 4 and the 4 golden, so there is an element of some improvement, but not much. We even popped it on the PS2 the other day. I was like, this is it on PS2. Different intro, admittedly, for base versus golden, but for all intents and purposes, the very same game, which is part of the joy. But I'm really enjoying seeing her embracing like a PS Persona 5, because we'd migrated to the minimum system that was running on, well, Switch. But how many times have I bought Persona 5? Actually, I'm now having this realization I've got it on Switch. God. I've got it on PS4. I think I've got it on PS5 version as well. I've got
Vita.
Royal. It's not on Vita, thank God.
Oh, yeah, it's 4 on Vita.
But 5, obviously, that it's only up another gen, but it's towards the end of PS3, and I think its base console that it was really designed to sing on was either PS4 or Xbox One. So it's looking great. So I'm looking forward to letting her play that, the way the menus fold and furl a bit more, and a little bit more voice acting, and maybe better anime, more frames of animation in that. So yeah, that's exciting. We've also then got Persona 3 on the Switch, the OG. I can't quite work out whether it's the Fairs version or not. So if anyone knows, message in. I could Google it, but I'd rather talk to one of you lovely people. And then obviously there's a PS5 reboot, and then I'm thinking, well, there's all the Shin Megami Tensei, there's Mario RPG, it's so much that I can't wait to go on that journey.
That Shin Megami Tensei one on was that 5? It was on the Switch.
I've got them all the way back.
That was highly rated. That Switch one.
I'm sure I've got a Shin Megami Tensei on PS2.
I know. Johnny from Happy Console Gamer, he said that's his favourite game on the Switch. He just 10 out of 10. Said absolutely amazing game.
That's strong, but fair play. I mean, everyone's allowed to have their thoughts. I mean, I rate games that people probably hate, and vice versa. So there's always a little bit of horses for courses. But I think that draws a line under everything that we've got going on RGT. Is there any community news that you want to throw out there, or are we all good?
No, I think we're all good. Like I say, if on the Discord front, it's hard to put the links up on the end of the show. So if anyone does want to join Discord, just go on questions@unofficialcontrollerpodcast.com or email us or contact us on Instagram, and we'll send you a link so you can join in.
Instagram's got a link tree, which you can click on, and it takes you to the Discord. So
perfect.
We've made it easy for you. Or old school, if you want to reach out to us, DM, whatever, we'll make it work. We will do the work for you, so you can just sit back and feel like a king.
Yes, but no, I don't think no community news. We're busy working in the background on something new, which we're very much looking forward to. So stay tuned for that very, very shortly. And but other than that, just to say thanks to everyone, as always, subs, listeners, anyone that downloads. If you could download, please download rather than stream, please. But other than that, yes, thanks to everyone, as always.
Well, with that said, that's all we have time for this week. Listeners, always thank you for your time. We look forward to the pleasure of speaking to you again next week. Until then, happy gaming. Remember, there's nothing wrong with being given the unofficial controller. It's what you do with it that counts. See you, RGT.
Laters.